There's something to be said at this time of year for the comforting desserts. Not the ones that are all style and no substance, not the ones that take hours and hours to make, but are never really worth it or satisfying when you eat them. I mean the desserts that make big portions and are super satisfying without much effort at all. And that's exactly what I'm bringing you guys today. Today I'm sharing the recipe for one of my all-time favorite desserts ever since I was a child, whether it comes in a box from the supermarket or made by these very hands. It's something I can't resist. It's something that would satisfy at any time of year, but especially now when the sparkle of Christmas is just out of the way, but we don't quite have any sight of spring yet. I'm talking about a crumble. Depending on where in the world you are, you may know this as a crisp rather than a crumble, and it can essentially be made with any fruit. But at this time of year, I think it's especially delicious with apples. Cooked until they're just soft and tender, coated in a little bit of sweet, spiced sauce of their own, really, and with a kind of half cake-like and half super crisp pastry crumble topping. This apple crumble is gorgeous, hot from the oven, or even kept and reheated the next day, or the day after, or the day after that. Perfect eaten with cream, with custard, with ice cream, and truly so easy to make. Let's get into it. Perhaps obvious, perhaps not, but the first step in an apple crumble is the apple. I like to use one kind of eating apple, just a regular sweet apple. You don't need to use any of the baking apples, just whatever you like to eat will have just the right amount of sweetness. One apple per person, plus an extra if you like it particularly fruity, is what I tend to use. And I cut them after peeling them into chunks about this size. If you like them softer, do cut the chunks smaller. If you prefer the apples a bit more crunchy, you can keep them bigger. Just transfer these to a kind of standard saucepan like this, one that will fit them all with plenty of space. If you have some smaller chunks and some bigger chunks, don't worry, just adds a nice bit of texture. To this pan, before you put it onto the heat, I like to add just a little bit of cinnamon, not too much. I would say anything between half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. I follow this with a kind of generous tablespoon of maple syrup or brown sugar or golden syrup, anything that will add just a little bit of sweetness and flavour at the same time without overpowering things and making them too sugary. Then I like to add just a little kind of handful of plain flour. This doesn't really add any flavour, it just helps bring any liquid from the apples into this kind of nice thick sauce instead. Then the apples just get gently simmered over a low heat for 5 to 10 minutes until they're just starting to soften and there's just a little bit of a kind of sweet spiced sauce around them. Tip these into your baking dish. In a big bowl, I want you to grab some plain flour, some spices like cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, an equal weight of oats to the flour, just to add some texture and some flavour, and a little bit of fibre, some brown sugar and some butter. And with absolutely no method, no precision and no skill involved, just get a pair of clean hands in there and rub and grind everything together until you have a kind of breadcrumby rubble with all of your ingredients. As long as there are no big, huge lumps of butter, you should be fine. And all you want to do with this is just tip it over your apple mixture, just to cover it. You can make as much or as little crumble topping as you like, and then all you have to do is bake for 30 to 45 minutes, by which point you should have a beautiful, crisp and insanely delicious smelling apple crumble ready for you to break through with a spoon, get it into a bowl, still hot and steamy and covered in either cream, custard or ice cream. And that, my lovelies, is all you need to make a very good apple or any fruit crumble. If you are making this with other fruit, you don't have to do the kind of pre-cooking stage with the apples. You can just kind of throw them straight into the dish with the kind of sweetenings and seasonings. For example, a berry crumble is always very delicious, an apricot crumble, a peach crumble, a plum crumble, whatever you fancy. As always, full instructions, method and ingredients will be in the description box below and on maverickbacon.com. I hope you guys love this recipe as much as we do, and I will see you for the next one.